Howdy friendos, my name is Stuart, and here it is. After my hot take on Twitter from forever ago, I will finally go over the character that is either loved or despised by the fandom. And that is the leader of the Band of the Hawk, the death on the battlefield, and chosen by God himself, the White Hawk Griffith. We only know part of Griffith's life, but we do know that he was born as a common boy. Despite his lot in life, Griffith aspired to have his own kingdom, and one day he was given a strange artifact known as a Crimson Behelit, or the Egg of the King. This artifact was said to one day grant his wish, and Griffith has kept it ever since. Griffith quickly became a mercenary for hire, but set himself apart. He brought a group of people together from different walks of life and inspired them to work together and raises above their station. With it, he formed the Band of the Hawk, all with the hopes of achieving his castle in the heavens. When we meet Griffith, his mercenary band has already earned the reputation of death on the battlefield, with a legendary success record. Griffith himself is earning more clout with the land of Midland. Griffith is also willing to make necessary sacrifices in order to win, whether it means using his own body in order to stay alive longer, or sacrificing his soldiers. He is polite with the noble class and his troops, showing care and attention for his group, and works with Midland to gain the upper hand in the 100-Year War. It doesn't matter what task is thrown his way, Griffith will achieve it. On Twitter, I labeled Griffith as lawful good, as something of a meme, but in all honesty, at the beginning of the series, that's blatantly incorrect. He is a mercenary for hire and doesn't particularly care who he works for. He will use or has used whatever he needs in order to achieve his goals. He doesn't seek out suffering or blood, but it's more of a consequence of his goals. After all, we've discussed many times before, there are no good politicians. It's literally impossible. As such, we will begin Griffith at lawful neutral, but I will kind of put him a little bit towards lawful good, if just for the meme. And yeah, he does kind of care about his soldiers, but he just cares about his goals more. But we'll see where this journey takes us. I'm sure nothing bad will happen. Also, as I mentioned in my Guts video, this will be a part 1 of sorts. This is only covering the Golden Age arc of the original manga, which means we'll be using the 1997 OVA for this. And with that out of the way, let's go! This video is brought to you by you guys! In an effort to provide bread for my family next month, I'd figure I'd try out a subathon over on our Twitch channel next week. Many of you don't know this, but I'm actually the DM of 3 different games a week over on twitch.tv/TheLoadingCrew. I have a Pathfinder Rise of the Runelords campaign, a 5e Strixhaven campaign, and a Pokemon Tabletop campaign. You guys should really watch them. Hintity hint hint. From now until the end of September, I will be doing a subathon, meaning for every subscription we get, I'll be adding 3 minutes to the streaming timer, which doesn't sound like a lot until you consider I'll also be adding 2 minutes for every follow I get on the channel. That's right. We average 10,000 views per alignment video, but I only have 4,000 followers on Twitch. If all of you guys go follow me right now, that means that we have to stream at least 10 more days in order to meet the demand, which means I will suffer a lot, but that just makes it funnier, right? That's how it works, right? Suffering streamer equals funny. Of course, we will be doing giveaways. Every 100 subs will do a Dakimakura giveaway, and we'll be playing some games with the community, and other rewards will be unlocked as we get more followers and subs. This isn't your everyday e-begging, this is advanced e-begging! Head on over to twitch.tv/TheLoadingCrew and go ahead and follow my channel, and be sure to tune in next week for the subathon. I'll be playing lots of games, hanging out with chat, and maybe having some fun guests on. Hope to see you guys there.
Why would you do that with him?
'Cause I'm just a girl who can't say no, can't seem to say it at all. I always say, come on, let's go, just when I order say stop. When a feller wants to kiss a girl, I know she ought to give his face a slap. When a fella starts a-kissing me, I kinda sorta wanna kiss him back. 'Cause I'm just a girl who can't say no, can't seem to say it at all. I can't say no.
As Griffith holds down the fort against enemy attacks, he spots one of his own men, Bazuzo, being killed by a young man with a massive sword. With morale falling, Griffith pulls a tactical retreat, having already held a castle longer than it was planned. Chaotic neutral.
Then again, I'm sure his coin purse runneth over. You know, he got plenty of money for defeating Bazuzo.
Resting nearby, Hawk spots Guts roaming. Griffith allows Corcus and a group of men to go after the swordsman, but sends Casca to watch over them. When Casca is in danger, Griffith joins the fray, wounding Guts. Lawful neutral.
She still can't get over that Griffith gave her the order to lie down by you for 2 whole days. You were shivering. He told her it's a woman's duty to warm a man.
Intrigued by this warrior, Griffith orders Casca to keep Guts' body warm as he recovers from blood loss. Letting the man recover, Griffith introduces himself, compliments Guts, and then offers him a membership to the Hawks. When Guts refuses, Griffith agrees to wager his membership on a rematch, which he tries to win without injuring his prize. At first, at least. Lawful neutral.
And so, now you belong to me, Guts.
Given a new job, Griffith charges Guts with leading a raid against the enemy. The job goes well, with Griffith quickly checking for survivors. What's interesting is that he goes back for Guts after he learns that the latter stayed behind to buy time. Lawful good. After a well-earned rest, Griffith calls Guts and bonds with him in a splash fight. I didn't give a ding to Guts, but Griffith exposing himself, like really literally, and his dream is pretty big for him. This earns Guts continued trust as the two continue to battle together. I'm gonna go with lawful good, but feel free to disagree, because I'm not even sure on this one.
What's this?
Your Majesty, look!
The Band of the Hawk. It's the death of the battlefield, led by the White Hawk brothers!
For several years, Griffith continues to aid Midland in the 100-Year War. He accepts various jobs and gains the respect and jealousy of the nobles. No matter what the danger, Griffith and the Hawks win every battle, living up to their nickname, Death on the Battlefield. Let's go with lawful neutral 3 times. Also with his own group, Griffith keeps morale high and casualties low. He takes Guts' wild and unpredictable nature into account with his plans. In the end, Griffith aims for victory where needless casualties are less likely. Weirdly enough, lawful good.
Sometimes he returns to battle after reportedly being killed in a previous one. Believe it or not, he's been around for nearly 100 years as far as the accounts of his exploits go.
Ooh, okay, so something fun to talk about. On assignment, Griffith learns of a new enemy stronghold that houses a legendary warrior, Nosferatu Zod. When he learns that Guts is in there, Griffith brings backup against the Apostle. They're able to survive, but Griffith risks countless lives to save his friend in the process. This is backed up in the very next episode when Guts confronts him. Chaotic good.
When you regard one another as brother, and this man's ambition crumbles, it is your destiny to face your death.
Recovering from his bout with Zod, Griffith continues to curry favor and respect from the court. He does take time to talk with Guts, knowing that his friend is hurting, and after their encounter with an apostle. Lawful good.
Oh, Sir Whitehawk. You seem to have gotten better.
When the king, his brother, and Lady Charlotte come to visit, Griffith acts on his absolute best behavior and gets Guts to follow his lead. Even when Griffith angers Julius, the dude takes the hit and plays it off like a Chad. Lawful neutral.
But even the heavy-equipped Golem Knights failed to capture that castle.
Yeah, I heard they were severely damaged.
Now it's our turn. We shall dispose of them.
More evidence of Griffith just being kind of amazing. He uses cunning and tactics to get to the stronghold back with minimal casualties. This earns them even more accolades and a place to help guard the nobles during the fox hunt. I'm actually going to go with lawful good on this one.
Hold it like this, then place it softly onto your lips.
It's the royal hunt, and Griffith and the Hots are given the honor to protect the nobles. Griffith makes some time to flirt with Lady Charlotte, and even when he's shot, he tries to keep everyone calm while assessing what actually happened. Lawful good.
Kill a man? Who?
The man who is next in line to the throne.
Using his network of spies and his own deduction, Griffith learns that the assassination attempt was an inside job. Knowing he has enemies in the court that want him dead, Griffith tasks Guts with his own assassination mission. Lawful evil.
Sir Griffith, they've all heard of your remarkable tale. They say you protected the princess's life with your own body. How brave you are.
As Guts carries out the assassination, Griffith is sure to make a rock-solid alibi with Princess Charlotte. It's during this that he confesses what he views as a friend, an equal, unaware that there's eavesdroppers. It's a nat 20 scene, and kinda lawful evil.
The man who would be my friend must have his own reason for living, beyond me.
With Julius and most of his staff gone, Griffith begins looking out for other enemies. He's able to deceive Minister Foss, feigning ignorance about any involvement. He then turns around and scares Foss shitless just after putting the fear of God in him and making the minister believe that the Hawk is onto him. Chaotic neutral.
Therefore, when I return from the battle, I will be sure to return this to you.
Accepting Charlotte's gift, Griffith leads Midland's army into the next war campaign. During one skirmish, Griffith learns Guts and Casca went missing. He's forced to keep marching to keep face with the generals, but keeps the Hawks near to scout for them. As he puts plainly to the generals, Guts and Casca are vital to victory. Lawful good.
I dare say, even your invincible band of the Hawk wouldn't be able to handle this matter, am I right?
With the order we could.
Yes, it's too much even for the Hawks.
If your majesty gives me the order.
With true victory hinging on taking the fortress of Doldrey, Griffith is called to plan. Knowing Gennon, the man who hurt him years ago, is in the fortress, Griffith promised victory with only the Hawks. He even does a quick and silent thanks to the general who backed him up. Let's go with lawful good, actually. Using himself as bait for Gennon, Griffith is able to lure the fortress defenses onto the battlefield. This is able to secure capturing the fortress for the Hawks and Midland, ending the 100-Year War. Griffith allows almost everyone to leave peacefully from enemy forces, with one exception, of course, and as we established in other videos, it is always good to kill a pedophile. Lawful good. Okay, so a lot happens behind the scenes, so bear with me. Knowing that he still has enemies in Midland, Griffith captures the Minister Foss's daughter and blackmails him. Learning of the latest assassination attempt, Griffith swaps the poisons and plays along, faking his own death, only letting Guts in on the details. Griffith waits for all of his enemies to get in one location and burn that motherfucking place to the ground. Let's give this whole thing a lawful evil for the political intrigue and a neutral evil for killing a whole bunch of people.
It is not because I betrayed my fellows or because I took part in the murder of the Queen. It's because I am afraid of this man.
Once the deed is finished, Griffith rips up the letter implicating Foss and gives him back his daughter unharmed. Not only as a sign of friendship, but leverage. He then pays the kidnappers, who had strict orders not to harm her, before having Guts kill them, leaving the money that had been earned. That is quintessential lawful evil behavior, and it's awesome.
Who would have ever imagined that a dead man was really the one pulling the strings?
Do you think me a dreadful man?
Huh?
Oh my gosh, such a fantastic moment. Now alone, Griffith asks Guts if he judges him for this, saddling him with a huge burden. It's such a fantastic moment from both him and Guts, and again shows the vulnerable side of Griffith that he doesn't let out in front of everyone else. Neutral good.
Are you leaving?
Yeah.
You're turning your back on the Hawks.
I'm sorry.
I told you long ago that you belong to me, Guts.
In an iconic Nat 20 scene, Griffith learns that Guts intends to lead the Hawks. While the others make their case, Griffith reminds them of the original deal and is willing to fight for him. Even if it means killing his friend, he refuses to let Guts go. Lawful evil, and there's a lot in this scene that I want to talk about. Fun fact, in the manga, this is also, I believe, the only place where we actually get to hear Griffith's inner thoughts. Assuming I got that right. I'm pretty sure that's correct. I'm just not sure.
My Lord Griffith! Lord Griffith, what are you doing out tonight?
Brought down in despair and losing control, Griffith makes a dangerous choice. In another Nat 20 scene, weird, Griffith goes to reclaim some sense of stability and power, but in doing so beds Princess Charlotte. I've been giving a lot of sex scenes, Nat 20 scenes lately, and sometimes it's just earned. This was a complicated sequence where we really aren't sure what Griffith is thinking, but we gotta rely on body language, nonverbal communication, and character knowledge to kind of put this all together. It's clear he's hurt here, and he's doing something to reclaim his normalcy. I'll talk about this in the post-analysis, but fantastic scene, especially in the manga. In the end, he is discovered and captured, chaotic neutral.
A man does have to live with the consequences of his actions. And your actions have led you here, I'm afraid. What a waste.
For 1 year, Griffith is tortured in mind and body. Unable to speak, his body is now brittle, and his mind is already crumbling with strange visions. Griffith endures. I can't give an alignment here.
The tendons in his arms and legs have been slashed. His tongue.
After seeing Guts after 1 year, Griffith's first act is to try and fail to strangle him. Too hopeless to move, Griffith even tries to regain some power by getting atop of Casca after they escape, but fails again. Chaotic evil.
What are you doing here, trembling and afraid?
Broken beyond repair and spiraling, Griffith cracks, hallucinating all the while. He flees, falling into a nearby river. It's there when he's presented with the choice to end his suffering, and he attempts to end his life. Chaotic neutral.
In exchange for his flesh and blood.
As Guts rushes in to save his friend from the horde of demons and the egg of the king, he pleads with them in vain not to come any closer. Chaotic good, actually.
I submit.
Griffith's journey is one that is complicated and is not necessarily filled with tragedy, but it's definitely not as simple as good or bad. Griffith, though he does start the series at a morally tenuous stance at best, he does do mostly good things when it involves him and his group, and he does have the signs of evil in him as early as episode 2. Griffith had nothing, yet he wanted everything. Yet, unlike a lot of villains, Griffith cared about his troops. In fact, he often went out of his way to keep them safe, not only for pragmatic reasons, like he needs troops in order to build his kingdom, but he did believe in the unified victory of his Band of the Hawk. He put up a wall, though, after they suffered defeats and losses because it was the only way that he could keep himself sane at night. We see this when he talks to Casca and in the scene in the Midland with Guts, where he asks if he's a monster for what he's done. And yet, there was someone there to turn his attention away from his dream, and that was Guts. Everyone remarks that Griffith can't help but be open with Guts, speaking freely and trusting him. In many ways, he views Guts as a friend, but also an equal. But he also can't help but see him as another person that he can control. Because of his dream, he needed Guts in order to achieve it. And that does really ask a really interesting question. Does Griffith really value Guts? Does he like him as a friend, or simply opens up to him as a means to keep him under his thumb? Or did he care and he was surprised when Guts misinterpreted his conversation with Charlotte? Personally, I like to believe that he was actually just talking a bunch of shit with Charlotte. Speaking from experience, you sometimes just say stupid shit in front of girls. Dude, tell me in the comments, seriously, give me an example in the comments of one time you were just saying a bunch of stupid shit to impress someone. It doesn't even have to be a girl, it could be a guy, I don't care. Just, you sometimes say stupid shit. We all do this, and Griffith was not immune to that either. While Griffith begins acting more chaotic when Guts is around, he only begins to commit evil when he has to in order to compete with the other royals in court. This is far from the first time he has done this. We saw it with Genin, but the act with Genin was a bit more lawful neutral. But regardless, Griffith does all these morally questionable acts in order to achieve his dream and protect himself and others. Specifically his band. In fact, he is kind of the quintessential lawful character because in order to build a kingdom, he has to perform acts that act within the rules within the kingdom that he's trying to build. And yet when Guts decides to leave, Griffith freaks out. Is it because he can't fathom Guts wanting to leave and be on his own? Is it because he cares about him as a friend and doesn't want him to lose? Is it because he still views Guts as lesser and he can't allow him to leave because he needs him to fulfill his kingdom? Or does he worry that his secrets will be exposed if Guts leaves? Again, if I recall correctly, this is the only time in the manga that we, like, for a single panel, do we see inside Griffith's head. It is a total sense of vulnerability that Griffith just can't let happen. But in the end, Guts wins and he loses, and from then on, Griffith makes several terrible decisions that dooms him to be forever banished from his dream. Well, not forever, but temporarily. So when literal demons come for him, and the man who seemingly lost everything, and he's presented with everything in return, Griffith's answer is pretty simple. Griffith is probably one of the best villains in anime. Hell, probably one of the best villains in fantasy in general. And one day when the series wraps up completely, and we have time to actually process this, we'll likely return to see how the rest of this adventure plays out. If you haven't read the manga, like, for real, go do it. There's a lot of really fun and goofy memes in there. And the show, despite being as dark as it is, has a lot of silly and goofy moments, especially those surrounding Charlotte and other characters that are just kind of innocent. It hits the mark on everything. It isn't just gloom and doom all the time. In fact, the themes are really about fighting in a world of darkness. So I suggest go watch it. Really? Or go watch it. Go read it. Thank you to the patrons, and I'll see you next time.
I wanna be where the S&M is, Let them ask me their questions and get my answers. What is a fire and why does it... What's the word? Ah! Burn. When's it my turn? Wouldn't I love to get tortured from those above? Wish I could be